He was a perfect example of a major league pitcher.
He is a complete pitcher, not a thrower, a pitcher.
He had such a smooth, fluid delivery and a straight over the top knuckle curve that went straight down 12-6.
The knuckle curve.
When you think about Mike Mussina's intelligence, I think it's kind of off the charts.
Throw the Hall of Fame curveball when you're trying to expand the guy's zones.
Moose made him fish.
You knew every time he took the mound, he was going to give you a great effort and a chance to win the ball game.
A brilliant performance by Mike Mussina.
My book, he's a Hall of Famer because of what he accomplished.
18 Major League seasons, 270 career wins, 32nd place on the all-time list.
I think that he'll be remembered as a great Yankee pitcher.
Number 35, Mike Mussina.
There are countless ways to describe the art of pitching as practiced by Mike Mussina. He was remarkably consistent, a uniquely intelligent mind on the mound and great at making in-game adjustments. Someone who could always be counted on to give you a solid outing. Hi, I'm John Sterling for the Yes Network, and this is Yankeeography. Mussina's studied approach to his craft put him on the cusp of a 20-win season several times in his career, only to have it cut short by elements sometimes beyond his control. But in September of 2008, at the age of 39, Mike Mussina finally found himself within reach of that magic milestone.
Mike Mussina is 1 out away from making history. If Rivera could nail down this final out.
Rivera deals. Swung on, hit on the ground to Ransom. Fields on a hop, throws to first, in time, ball game over. Mike Mussina wins 20th.
In his 18th year in the major leagues, Mike Mussina finally got that elusive 20-win season. And it was only fitting that he did so while wearing the pinstripes. Because for 8 years in the Bronx, he was a paragon of both guts and guile on the mound.
Swing and a miss. Strike three. He got him.
He was a perfect example of a major league pitcher, what you would want a major league pitcher to be.
It's great to watch him pitch. This is an artiste.
Strike three. Mussina is really dealing.
He defines what a pitcher is all about and should be because he was able to work with his strengths and attack your weaknesses.
He struck him out swinging on a breaking ball away. Moose made him fish.
Facing him was very tough, and I had some great battles against him, and most of the time he got me out.
Alex Rodriguez is caught looking.
He was a reliable pitcher. He was a guy that every time you pitched, you knew that you had a chance to win the game.
He is a complete pitcher, not a thrower, a pitcher.
Mussina wasn't blessed with a blazing fastball, so he made the most of his other tools to get the job done.
No, the curveball buckled his knees, got him looking. Mussina seems to have his best stuff with him tonight.
Mike will be a guy who have 5 pitches. Fastball, sinker, cutter, and then curveball change.
Got on and missed. He struck him out on a change.
He had such a smooth, fluid delivery and a straight over the top knuckle curve that went straight down 12-6.
And like clockwork, the helpless hitters would be left flailing at air.
Beautiful knuckle curve.
It was a devastating pitch, perhaps the best one in his vast repertoire.
The knuckle curve. He got him and strikes out the side.
But there's another reason why Mussina was able to baffle hitters for so many years. For in this exclusive club of big league pitchers, Mike was at the head of the class.
When you think about Mike Mussina's intelligence, I think you think about it's kind of off the charts.
He is a master craftsman, and he'll pitch backwards, a lot of soft stuff early, and then finish it with a heater.
He's a master at reading swings, staying one pitch ahead of the hitter.
You have to be a master pitcher to be able to do that. It's not that easy, and he is a master pitcher.
Be able to drop pitches in and freeze batters. His unpredictability on the mound, that's probably what led to a lot of his strikeouts.
You can't get used to one pitch pattern because he doesn't have one.
Indeed, batters had plenty to think about when Mike was on the mound. And when they did manage to make contact, he was often there to thwart them in another fashion.
He was one of those guys that felt like after he delivered the pitch, he was a fielder.
Right back to Moose.
You can't bunt on Moose.
Mussina, very good fielding pitcher, was on that bunt.
When guys are on base, he's pretty athletic. He's going to make the right plays.
We almost take that for granted, how good Mussina is at coming off of the mound, and really good fielding pitcher.
A cut above the rest, as evidenced by the 7 Gold Gloves he received in his career.
He's quick off the mound.
Smart pitcher, heady fielder. And Mike also took pride in being able to take the ball every 5th day.
Mike was very dedicated, and that's what kept him going.
Mussina has hardly spent any time on a disabled list.
And he was one of the ultimate 5-day rotation, get-it-ready guys.
And ever since his first full season in the majors in '92, he was a rock.
The durability of Mussina with 20 starts or more, 17 years in a row.
When the Yankees took the field behind Mussina, there were no surprises waiting round the bend. It's an aspect of his game that many took for granted, but not his teammates.
I think a lot of times in this day and age, consistency goes overlooked. And Moose is one of those guys that you knew what you're going to get from him year in and year out.
A brilliant performance by Mike Mussina.
You knew what you were going to get. You didn't have to worry about Moose.
Mussina has been utterly brilliant again.
You look at the back of his bubblegum card, you really have an appreciation for how consistent he was over the course of his career.
He's pitching well every time out.
The thing about Mike Mussina is he's just a winner. And to me, one of the best pitchers I've ever seen.
He is as good as it gets for the New York Yankees.
Coming up next on Yankeeography.
And Torresville's kind of small-town America. But we have a Walmart, so I guess we're on the map.
Welcome back to Yankeeography. Mike made a name for himself in the bright lights of New York City, a far cry from his upbringing in rural Pennsylvania.
And Torresville's kind of small-town America.
Population of about 5,000 people, a very laid-back community.
It's small. Growing up, we had 4 red lights. It's 1 square mile, and we had 4 red lights.
But we have a Walmart, so I guess we're on the map.
Mike grew up less than 5 miles from Williamsport, home of the Little League World Series. So his interest in baseball was piqued at a very young age.
I first played organized at 8 years old, but I was throwing balls around long before that. My dad had me in the backyard playing catch.
Started this at about the age of 3.
I would throw rubber balls or tennis balls off the basement wall.
And he used to throw for hours on end, just playing catch.
Ka-thump off the wall. I'm trying to sleep on Saturday morning and it's down there ka-thump, and every once in a while the baseboard radiator that was at the bottom would take a hit and it would clang pretty good.
He could always throw hard, and he was always the best player on his team. When he was 10 years old, he won the batting championship in Townsville Little League. And as a 10-year-old, you can't make the Little League All-Star team because you have to be 11 and 12. So then what he did is he came back as an 11-year-old and decided, I'll just start switch hitting.
By the time Mike reached high school, it became clear he was an extraordinary athlete.
He was a really good basketball player. He could really shoot. Football, he's the school's all-time leading receiver, the best kicker they ever had.
And he wasn't too shabby at baseball either. Mike pitched and played shortstop his sophomore season, and tiny Montoursville captured the state championship.
It was fun to go out there and get with that group of people and accomplish something. It was never really looked at as even possible up to that point.
Mussina went 24-4 in high school with an ERA under 1 and was drafted by the Orioles in the 11th round. But as much as he loved baseball, this serious student was determined to get an education.
From the get-go, he took the position, I'm not going to sign. I'm going to college.
Texas, Georgia Tech, and Stanford were just some of the schools seeking this highly coveted recruit.
Everybody knew about Mike Mussina. Mike played for the Junior USA team, and he beat the Cuban team. That was phenomenal. I think that's the first time the Cuban national team had been beaten. So everybody knew about him. And our big thing was, what type of student is he? He was an off-the-charts student. So it was a fit for us, but we had to get him out here and try to sell him on why he should come out to Stanford.
A couple months into my senior year, I took a trip to Stanford to visit. I came back from that trip and said, I want to go there, and that's pretty much how it happened.
The key was the weather and the facility, and then he stayed on campus with some of our players. About half our team normally is from out of state, so it wasn't like he was going to be the only guy away from home.
And Mike made himself right at home with the Cardinal before Stanford even played a regular season game.
We'd won the national championship in 1987, and in the fall of '87, his freshman year, we went to Taiwan to play in a world tournament. And he pitched in that and threw a no-hitter. So he hasn't even played a game yet at Stanford, and he's gone overseas and pitched well.
Mike Mussina's poise right from the start enabled him to become one of the few players ever to make the Stanford starting rotation as a freshman.
All the guys who had pitched the year before had all graduated or been drafted, and I came into a situation where they really needed some people to pitch. So I threw 130 innings as a freshman on a national championship team, so it was a great experience.
Just 1 year out of high school, Mike played a role in helping Stanford successfully defend its national title.
He was a cornerstone, took a regular start the entire season. Without him, I don't think we would have repeated as national champion.
It was a big change, but I learned a lot the first year, and I gave up a ton of homers, but in the end, it probably made me a lot better pitcher.
But Mike's most impressive delivery his freshman year came in the clubhouse following a defeat.
I was never more proud of an 18-year-old at the World Series that year because we lost a game. Mike pitched it, and Ed Sprague, who was a great player, played in the big leagues, he made an error that cost us a game. After the game, the first question they asked Mike Mussina is, well, how did you feel when Eddie Sprague made the error and cost you the game? This is to an 18-year-old. And I'll never forget this. Mike says, well, you weren't around when he saved me 3 or 4 times during the year and made great plays. And I'm saying, well, I got a special young man here to handle himself and that. You know, and then there's a lot of media there at the College World Series. So that spoke volumes of Mike Mussina and what type of person he was.
Mike capped off his time at Stanford with a 14-5 record his junior year and another trip to the College World Series. So it was no surprise when the Orioles came calling once again.
Baltimore select Michael E. Mussina.
Baltimore selection is Michael Mussina, M-U-S-S-I-N-A, right-hand pitcher from Stanford.
Coming up next on Yankeeography.
I just go out and play the game and have fun and try to get ready for the season. Don't give me the quarter stuff.
You could see that barring injury, he could probably be around for a while.
When Mike got called up by the Orioles in August of '91, his family didn't ask for much.
My only thought was, win a game. Sometime between now and the end of September, win one game so you can tell your grandkids you won a game in the major league.
Strike 3, call.
First 2 months in the big leagues was another great experience for me. I pitched really well, only won a couple of games, but it was great, and I got a chance to see if I could be better than I was.
You could see that barring injury, he could probably be around for a while.
Coming in this spring, I feel a lot better. I'm more confident with myself than I did last year. I just go out and play the game and have fun and try to get ready for the season.
One thing that I thought more about Mike Mussina was the fact that he was more intelligent than most players his age, for one. He just had his whole act together.
Don't give me the quarter stuff.
His control was outstanding. We all knew that he could throw any pitch almost in any situation that he wanted to.
And he got him on the change. Yeah, he did.
When he came up, he was pretty much a 3-pitch pitcher. You know, he had a changeup, which he used.
Changeup is, to me, is here.
Changeup, got him. Great pitch.
His knuckle curveball was probably his second best pitch.
My curveball's here. My finger's up like this for no particular reason. In fact, that's where I like holding it.
There's the slow one again.
That was a knuckle curve.
He had a good fastball.
That's four-seam fastball for me.
There's the fastball, and it's strike 3. And that great change and the knuckle curve make that 90-mile-an-hour fastball look like 95.
I was young and healthy and strong and had good stuff. Johnny Oates, who was the manager at the time, just kept sending me out there to pitch.
Mike is a perfectionist. He's got a lot of heart. He's got a little bit of a bulldog in him. He leaves no stone unturned when it comes time in preparation for a ball game.
Fastball, got him.
Johnny's faith in his young pupil paid off when Mike went 9-3 in the first half of the '92 season and found himself at the All-Star game in San Diego.
Pitcher Mike Mussina.
He went on to post an 18-5 record that year and finished with a .783 winning percentage.
It was exciting. How did I end up being 18-5 with a 2.5? I don't know. I was just pitching, and I was thrown right in and said, go get him.
I think a lot of the people excited about seeing Mussina. He's received raves around all of the American League.
He was quickly on pace to be the ace of the staff. He had a great game plan each and every time out, and that's what set Mike apart from a lot of other guys.
Another brilliant performance by Mike Mussina.
From 92 through 97, Mike won 101 games, the most in the American League during that time. But every year, that one milestone escaped him.
One thing or another, he was always the bridesmaid when it came to 20 wins. He won 19 twice. He had shots at 20 a couple of times during that period.
Masterful performance by 25-year-old right-hander Mike Mussina.
Having a good year in '94. We went out in the middle of August, and I think the first day we didn't play, it was my turn to pitch.
On the Field of Dreams, a giant anticlimax.
I had 16 wins already, so I had a good shot at it.
In '94, I wish they could have finished because he was on a roll.
95 rolls around, and we start 3 or 4 weeks late, and I end up with 19 at the end.
Struck him out, and that's the ball game.
And the next year, I end up with 19 and 4 chances to get to 20 at the end of the season. I don't win any of the last 4 starts.
And now Mike Mussina can't win it, but he can lose it.
Probably by the 3rd time, I was kind of figuring, well, you know, I've had 3 chances at it, and it hasn't worked out, so I don't know how many more shots I'm going to get.
It was during the '96 season the unthinkable happened, and baseball became the last thing on Mike's mind. The crash of TWA Flight 800 claimed 21 members of the Montoursville High School French Club. Mike was in his hotel room in Boston when he got the news.
I started making some calls and seriously, what? I saw Montoursville on the news about this plane crash. What's going on?
Plane crash. The Montoursville French Club was supposed to be on that plane.
We're so many people from our town, and it is a small town, and everybody knew everybody.
No one was spared. Everybody was involved. A town like this to have 21 funerals or something, it was bad.
I don't know if there's any way that you can really quantify how it affected the community. It just wiped us out, and then you had to pick up yourself by your bootstraps and go on.
I wrote everybody's name in my hat for a while through the next couple of weeks of the season. When it happened, we all said we'd never be the same, and we probably won't ever be the same. It'll always be a little different than it would have been. It was tough. It was tough at the time.
Moose, of course, had to move on and led the O's into the playoffs in '96 and once again in '97.
They come back with a team that goes wire to wire, and Mike's a big part of that.
Called strike 3.
And they go into the playoffs as a favorite.
We went to Seattle. We're in the Kingdome. It's loud. Randy Johnson's pitching. All these things that are going against us.
Mike Mussina was dealing with his fastball and that knuckle curve, which most of the times was pretty much unhittable.
And he strikes out the side, all of them swinging.
They won that first game because of the strength and the pitching performance of Mike Mussina.
We pounded out like 9 runs and won the first game pretty handily. And then we got back to Baltimore. We faced him again.
And we've got a great matchup, Randy Johnson and Mike Mussina.
And it was just unbelievable. Throwing strikes. He just knew how to pitch.
They've been shut down for 7 by the Moose.
It was a lot lower scoring game, but we won it again. It won the series in 4 games.
Randy Johnson lost 4 games all year, 20-4. Mike Mussina has beaten him twice in 4 days.
But that was just a prelude to the LCS, where Mike showed the world why he was one of the best pitchers on the planet. In 15 innings against Cleveland, he allowed just 1 earned run and delivered a record-setting strikeout performance.
That is 15 strikeouts for Mussina, an LCS record.
He really tried to carry the team on his back into the World Series, and they just didn't come along for that ride.
Mike was at the top of his game, but could his team stay competitive in its division?
2000 was the last year of my contract. We didn't have the best team. I kind of knew at the time that Baltimore was going in a different direction. They were going younger, and that for me personally, it was a good idea to go out and see what was out there.
Coming up next on Yankeeography.
Having Joe Torre call him pushed him towards here.
This decision's about who really wants me to play for him. That's what it came down to for me. Who really wants me?
One of the best pitchers ever to wear an Orioles uniform, Mike saddened Baltimore when he switched to pinstripes.
The Orioles basically blinked, and he was gone.
There's no way you need all these pictures taken. Honestly.
From many years of watching Mike Mussina and the way he goes about things, that was a great shock that he ended up in New York.
Well, you always thought the Yankees were in play. What you didn't know is what Mussina thought about coming to play here.
This decision is about who really wants me to play for him. That's what it came down to for me. Who really wants me?
Michael is a pretty non-emotional guy, and he said that, you know, having Joe Torre call him pushed him towards here.
They had just finished up the World Series about 3 or 4 days before.
The New York Yankees have once again reached the summit of the sports world.
But the phone rang and Joe Torre.
They've won their 3rd straight championship.
They could have been doing 100 other things, and he decided to call me just to make sure that I knew that the Yankees were interested. And first impressions usually last a long time, so about 8 weeks later, I signed on with him. You know, you walk into a clubhouse that has the talent of Jeter, Tino, Paul O'Neill, Bernie, Mo, Clemens, and Pettit, and I just wanted to try to fit in. Morning. How you doing? Good. I get to come in and just be one of the other 4 starters. It's a welcome change, and I look forward to being on a club that we expect to win another championship.
Mike Mussina in his Yankee debut. And Mussina starts his Yankee career with a strikeout. Here's the Moose. Moose in the Bronx. Got it. A 1-2-3 inning.
They're saying Mussina giving him a standing ovation. A great start from Mike Mussina.
You know, the team was very excited when they signed Mike because we got one of the premier pitchers in the game.
Call strike 3.
Mike appeared to be a perfect fit on the Yankees. And come September, he almost took that literally.
I mean, everybody is standing and cheering Mike Mussina now.
Mussina is 1 strike away from a perfect game.
Once before, Mike had come oh so close to pitching perfection, only to have it slip away. Would this be the time he finally achieved it?
He was unhittable that night. He had perfect game stuff.
His location that night was spectacular.
Has retired the signing order in every inning of this game.
I mean, the scoreboard's got zeros all on it.
Mussina is perfect through 8. He has struck out 12.
I go out in the bottom of the 9th, and I get 2 outs. Carl Everett came up.
So Carl Everett stands between Mike Mussina and a perfect game.
And I just pitched against Boston, and I had struck him out 3 or 4 times. So I was just trying to do the same thing to him again.
Flash bulbs going off all over the ballpark.
This is the closest he's ever come.
And here's the 0-2. And the no-hitter and perfect game are broken up.
So that was it. You know, to get there twice, to get to the 9th inning twice with a perfect game is unique in itself, and I think I'm the only guy to do it twice and not get one. So I've got that going for me.
Mike's brush with perfection excited Yankee fans, who are anxious to see how he'd perform in the postseason. And in the very first round, he was asked to be a savior.
No team has come back in a 5-game series down 2-0 with the first 2 losses at home.
You know, we needed someone to go out there and shut that team down. That's exactly what he did.
Perfect pitch.
People forget how good a hitting team that Oakland team was.
Taken for strike 3.
Because they never got to the World Series. It wasn't because they couldn't hit.
But Moose silenced their bats with 7 shutout innings, a performance that was overshadowed only by an iconic Yankees moment.
Derek Jeter with one of the most unbelievable plays you will ever see by a shortstop.
They didn't overshadow it for us because we understood the importance of what Moose did. We had our backs to the wall, and he went out there, and you couldn't ask for him to do a better job.
He pitched in 2 games, you know, the Derek Jeter flip play game, and then, of course, the Aaron Boone game.
Aaron Boone to lead off.
His first at-bat of the game. There's a fly ball deep to left. It's on its way. There it goes, and the Yankees are going to the World Series.
Obviously, Aaron Boone will always be remembered, but that homer doesn't have much significance if Mike Mussina doesn't come in and throw 3 shutout innings of relief.
Mike Mussina is getting ready for the Yankees in their bullpen.
That's Game 7 against Boston.
The American League pennant at stake.
Mel Stoudemire comes to me before the game and goes, "How you doing?" I said, "I'm okay. I can give you something." So he says, "Okay, well, we won't bring you in unless it's a fresh inning." Okay.
Nobody out. Runners at first and third. We're in the 4th inning. Here comes Joe Torre, and that is it for Roger Clemens.
I turn around and look at the other guy warming up with me. He's still down at the bottom of the mound, just getting loose. So I'm like, well, it's got to be me. So in I go.
They're going to go with Mike Mussina.
More than 10 years in his big league career. First relief appearance tonight.
First and third, nobody out. We're down 4-0.
The 0-2 to Veritek. Swung on and missed, strike 3.
Right now, all he is thinking about, 60 feet 6 inches to try to keep it 4-0 here in the 4th inning.
I get Johnny to hit a one-hop to Garrick's left.
Jeter steps and fires. Mussina may have just kept the Yankees in this game.
A lot of things happened after that. But that was the moment that won that game.
Everybody's been just great through all this, and it's been up and down, and I'm just glad I was able to contribute today and be part of this championship.
He gets lost in the shuffle of 2 very big Yankee postseason games. He threw 10 shutout innings, which directly led to the Yankees making the World Series. That can't be lost when you're talking about Mike Mussina and his Yankee career.
We now return to Yankeeography. Far from the pressure of the World Series is Mike's Montoursville home, a refuge where he collects more than just his thoughts.
You know, don't ask me why people start collecting things. I got into tractors a couple of years ago. I went with my father-in-law and my son, so we go to this tractor auction. They have a nice little John Deere there, and it's been restored and all this stuff. And this is the first one I ever bought. You know, this is rural America, and everybody has tractors, and we live out in the country. And hey, why not? Let's pick one up. So we got a tractor at this first auction. I'm not planning on farming the whole yard with these things because they were built for certain size farms at a certain time in history, and now they're just kind of fun to have around. They'll end up in parades. So it kind of took off from there. I started shopping for them on the computer, and now 7 or 8 years later, I have about 12 or 13 tractors.
Why? I can't tell you. But he does have some nice old tractors in there.
1936 F-14 Farmall.
He's got some tractors that I never heard of. When I talked about a mini mow.
This is a Minneapolis Moline.
A Minneapolis Moline, I didn't know what that was.
And they didn't make Minneapolis Molines for very long. It's not a common tractor that you'd see every day.
They bought one at an auction, and I said, how are you going to use it? And they said, we don't even know how to start it. I said, why would you buy a tractor? You don't know how to start it. And they said, well, somebody around is going to know how to start it. I don't understand it.
But they look nice sitting there in the building, and I'm more interested in the cars he has.
We're going downstairs now to where the cars are. This Corvette, 76 Vet, it's the one that started the whole thing. Has T-roof in it. Red interior, red outside. It's really expanded a lot more than I thought it was going to expand, but it's fun. I like shopping for them, and I like taking them out for a ride once in a while, and the kids enjoy it.
Mike's as passionate about his hobbies as he is about his baseball, and he's also made it a point to give back to those less fortunate through the Mike Mussina Foundation, designed in part to provide college scholarships for those in need.
I think there are 11 schools involved. And what he does is he gives a scholarship to one person from every school.
We let the school systems in the county that I live in select one student from their senior class who fits our criteria to win this award. We give them a little bit of help all 4 years. We don't just give it to them once at the beginning, we give it to them all 4 years. So we're with these kids all the way through college.
Through Mike's generous donations, the foundation has had quite an impact, and it continues to do so.
We've gotten a lot of positive response from it. A lot of people who have thanked us because they weren't sure their child was going to get to go to the school that he or she wanted to go to because of financial situation. So we've helped out a lot of kids, and hopefully we can keep doing it as long as possible.
In his first 3 seasons in pinstripes, Mike Mussina pitched in 2 World Series and won 52 games, more than any Yankee pitcher during that time.
He brought a lot of consistency and durability to our team. You could always rely on him every 5th day to get the ball. And when he's out there pitching, you know you have a great chance to win the game.
But come 2004, his ratio of base runners allowed per 9 innings took a dramatic upturn, and his trademark control became a concern.
And what a mistake from a guy who never walks people, but this year he's walking them.
When games are going well, they become kind of fuzzy. You don't remember all the things you do the same way you do when you get beat around. When you get beat around, you remember the mistakes.
It is gone. You couldn't be more un-Mussina-like.
The one thing Mussina always said was that there are probably going to be 5 games a year when you feel great, 5 games a year when you feel terrible, and everything else is in between.
You can see Mussina's body language right now. He's not feeling comfortable about the way he's pitching or his stuff.
There are a lot of times where you just have to find ways to compete.
But in 2005, Mike's earned run average was above the league average for the first time since 1993.
So things kept getting changed or altered or adjusted or whatever needed to be done.
There's the Moose, and he is working on a couple of things.
So I just kept working at it and working at it.
And the fruits of his labor became evident in the spring of 2006.
It was an inter-squad game, and Jorge came up in the first inning, and I threw him a change.
I remember seeing his fingers on top of the ball, and I hit the home run.
See ya!
We're all in the same dugout, so when I walked back over to the dugout, I said, "Did you see the ball that good?" He said, "Yeah, I saw it right out of your hand."
After that, he corrected that real quick.
Watch this one. Change up.
The fact that Jorge got a good swing at it way back in the end of February probably helped me to have a really good year.
Beyond his mechanical adjustments, Mike also fed off his competitive nature to get back on track. Like that night in Detroit in late May, when he was 1 out away from tossing a complete game shutout and then gave up a run.
The shutout is gone.
That prompted Joe Torre to take Mike out, but an adamant Moose was determined to finish what he started.
Looked like Torre was getting up to come out and take him out of the game. I think Mussina waved him back.
Once he knocked in the run, I figured, what the heck's the difference? And then when he went like that, that's fine too. Everybody laughed at me, but that's all right.
Mussina went the distance and continued to have a bounce-back season, one that was highlighted by an impressive career milestone.
Breaking ball, strike 3. And that is strikeout number 2,500 for Mussina.
It was a nice accomplishment. It was a pretty big deal. You know, you look back on these things after it's done and realize that, you know, there aren't too many guys that got to go out there and do this.
His numbers in 2006 were vintage Mussina, and it appeared that Mike had returned to form.
2006 comes up with this sort of renaissance year and gets a 2-year contract, goes back out for 2007, and the Yankees are counting on him to be a big piece of their rotation.
Number 35, Mike Mussina.
But Mike's quest for another solid year hit a few potholes along the way.
I hurt my foot, which bothered me the entire season, which probably led to my back bothering me, my knee bothering me, my hip bothering me.
Mussina comes out of the ballgame.
Oh, man.
A guy who really had been healthy for most of his career, all of a sudden he had a couple of little groin injury and a hamstring injury. And they were really eating at him, and it really affected him on the mound.
And right now, you'd have to say Mussina has nothing.
Mike got to a point where he just couldn't get through games, and it was tough for everybody around the Yankees at that time.
Joe Torre's on the cusp of taking him out, and I think that's it.
I couldn't make the pitches I wanted to make. I didn't feel like I could be as effective. I didn't feel as strong, and it showed the way I pitched.
And so at the age of 38, in his 17th year as a big league starter, Mike was relegated to the bullpen.
At that point of the season, I mean, he had basically hit rock bottom. To hear that you're not a part of the starting rotation anymore, when going into the season you were going to be counted on as being one of the leading men in the rotation, you know, that's a tough pill to swallow.
Well, it's a little demoralizing. You're a starter for all these years. You also view it as an opportunity to get things right.
After missing just 2 turns, Mike got that chance when he rejoined the starting rotation.
He came back and pitched pretty well, and it wasn't great, but it was well enough for you to say, you know, that time in August might have been just a blip.
But while Mike's 3 wins in September were reassuring, questions regarding his future effectiveness remained.
So the best thing that could happen is have the season end, you know, and let him get a timeout and go home and refocus and try to reinvent himself or see if rest and time off could produce the old Mike.
Coming up next on Yankeeography.
It's like he just topped it off with the best year that he could possibly ever have.
And Mike Mussina wins his 20th game for the first time in his career.
Following his disappointing season in 2007, spring training offered Mike a fresh start.
After last season, everyone had to wonder.
He might not be the Mike Mussina that we have seen over the years.
I honestly didn't know what my role was going to be. We got some young guys, and we may have more starters in camp than there are spots in the rotation. So I talked to Dave Island at Girardi, and I said, you know, what are you guys expecting from me?
I expected him to be a winner like he always was.
We wanted him desperately to come in and have a good spring and be one of our starters.
We got one chance. That's it.
We were going to plug him right into the rotation and let him sink or swim, but we had no idea what we were going to get.
Mike Mussina on the mound here at the stadium. Game 2 of the 2008 season.
He came back in 08 and didn't start well. He was 1-4 in April.
His first 4 starts. To be kind, he was dismal.
But then Mike got some inside information from his pitching coach, and that changed everything.
And just kind of laid it on the line and told him, you know, if you want to continue to pitch and you want to be successful, you know, you have to pitch inside right-handers more. And he still wasn't too keen on the idea, but he went out and did it.
You see him pound the inside part of the plate.
And just like that, Moose was back.
Strike 3 outside corner, painting.
Mike Mussina, call strike 3.
Mussina has been utterly brilliant.
It was fun to pitch. After 07, when it was miserable, it was fun to pitch again.
Fun and winning went hand in hand for Mike, and by the All-Star break, he already had 11 victories, which put him in the pantheon of consistency. Mike's businesslike approach to the game served him well once again. And as he took the mound for his final start of the season, he had the chance to reach the magical milestone that he had missed out on so many times in the past.
The last game of the season at Fenway Park, everybody was pulling for him. Everybody knew that he hadn't done it before.
We've talked about it in the past. He's Mr. Almost.
Mussina used to joke that his autobiography would be called Almost. Almost threw a perfect game, almost won a World Series, almost won 20 games. He got a chance to scratch that last one off.
Mike Mussina was going for his 20th win.
You know, it was the Yankees, Boston, and the games were sold out, so we're playing a split doubleheader.
It's raining. What else is new here at Fenway? It's been an awful weekend.
Girardi asked me, do you want to pitch the first game or the second game? I said, I want the first game because if we're going to have a game, I want to be able to pitch.
And he took that determination to the mound.
Swing and a miss, strike 3.
Moose does it again. The pitch hit on the ground, double play, ball to second. Cano, Ransom, one on the first, double play.
Mussina is the only 250-game winner that has never won 20 games.
It was probably, in my eyes, one of the most important games I'd ever managed because we all wanted it so bad for him.
Mike threw 6 shutout innings that day and then turned his fate over to the bullpen.
My family was flying back home. They couldn't wait to the end of the game because of the delay. So I was talking to them in the tunnel while there was guys running all over the bases.
The Red Sox are on the board.
Mo had to come in and get out of it.
Here comes Rivera.
And I wasn't even really concerned about the game. It was like, you know, I did what I was going to do, and if I get 20, I do, and if I don't, I don't. I've been here before.
1 strike away. Broken back ground ball to Ransom. And Mike Mussina wins his 20th game for the first time in his career.
It's like he just topped it off with the best year that he could possibly ever have.
At the age of 39, Mussina becomes the oldest player in baseball history to win 20 games for the first time. And what a season he's had.
He deserved to win in 20 games. He worked hard. He made the adjustments he had to make, which is a credit to him. And it was a special moment for him, a special moment for me being his pitching coach. I think a special moment for all of us.
He was so deserving because Mike was coming off of such a disastrous 07 that the way he was able to finish strong and do what he did at that age, again, defined why he was such a great pitcher for as long as he was.
Coming up next on Yankeeography.
Is this it, Mike? Is this the last time we're going to see you on a mound?
You know, I don't know. I really don't know. If it is, it's kind of a nice way to go.
After he got that elusive 20th victory in his final start in 2008, folks had to wonder whether Mike would return to the Yankees in 2009 or call it a career.
A lot of rumors swirling around that this could be Mike Mussina's last outing in the big leagues, and not that many people go out on top.
Is this it, Mike? Is this the last time we're going to see you on a mound?
You know, I don't know. I really don't know. If it is, it's kind of a nice way to go.
We weren't aware officially that he had decided to hang it up. But if you were around Mike enough, you could tell that that's what he had decided to do.
Do you want to go out on a good note? On a big rebound year and say, you know what, I'm going out on my own terms?
Just 30 wins shy of 300 in his career, and fresh off a 20-win season, Mike appeared to still have plenty left in the tank. But months before this day, he'd made his decision and stuck to it.
I had decided before spring training started that was going to be it. The season had been so much fun for me personally to play that I didn't want to create a media thing before the season ended.
And once Mike left baseball, he turned his attention to baseball, just on a smaller scale, as he served on the Little League Baseball International Board of Directors in Williamsport, not far from his home. It was an offer he couldn't refuse.
One of the older members retired, and the president came to me and said, would you like to be involved with the Little League over at the headquarters?
Where 1 year prior, Mike stared down the likes of Big Papi. Hey, struck him out swinging fastball. He now spends his time with big leaguers of the future.
Good swing.
He's watching his sons play.
Step on first. Come on. There you go. Nice play, Bryson.
And teaching everyone how to play the game right.
Oh! Is that glove legal?
He is interested in teaching the correct mechanics for pitching or whatever position you're playing.
Attaboy, throw strikes. Attaboy.
And who better than him to teach it?
2 outs, Nate. Going on anything. Go run him off second on a wild pitch. Make sure he goes.
Now that I don't play, I'm more involved than I was before, but it's worth it.
1, 2, 3. Go!
Who knows? Mike might be mentoring a future Hall of Famer, which leads us to the question of whether or not Mike himself is deserving of enshrinement in the halls of Cooperstown. For some, it's a no-brainer.
I think he belongs in the Hall of Fame because I don't think there's any other pitcher that's not in the Hall of Fame that's been 100 games over 500.
117 games over 500 to be exact. Just as impressive is his American League record of 17 straight seasons with 10 or more victories.
Mike Mussina, to me, is a Hall of Famer. And I know he doesn't have the 300 wins, but what he accomplished pitching in the American League East, a hitter's division for a long, long time, is really pretty incredible.
Since 1991, the most wins in the majors, he is 4th in that category. Maddox, Glavine, Randy Johnson are ahead of him.
I think the more you look at his numbers, the better you realize they are. Jim Palmer was 268 and 152. Mike's 270 and 153. And Jim Palmer's one of the greatest right-handers of all time. How much worse can Mike be than Jim Palmer if they have the same record?
It's a lot of wins. It is.
In 18 seasons, I did a lot of good stuff. So by simply causing a debate, I've made enough noise that it's going to be talked about for a couple of years.
But while Mike's inclusion in the Hall of Fame remains in question, there's no doubt about his place in the hearts and minds of the Yankees and their fans. For during his 8 seasons in pinstripes, Mike Mussina was a winner. And when the roll call is read of the Yankees' best pitchers, Mike's name will always be there.
I think that he'll be remembered as a great Yankee pitcher.
You've got to appreciate what Mussina has done. This guy has been a really top-flight starter for his entire career.
He finished a stellar career in pinstripes with a lot of class.
He has certainly done a great job for the Yankees.
I admire him for the character and the way he took them out.
You can argue the point that when Mike Mussina signed his long-term contract with the Yankees, that is one of the best free agent signings of all time.
Everything that goes with wearing that uniform and playing in that city, I think it was the best thing I did in my baseball career.
Listen to the appreciation from the sellout crowd.
My 8 years was a great 8 years.
Whether he makes it to the Hall of Fame or not, Mike Mussina can always lay claim to being one of the more cerebral men ever to put on a Yankee uniform. After all, he did get his degree from Stanford in less than 4 years, and he did so while playing baseball. Mike took that intelligence to the mound in every one of the 248 games he started while in pinstripes. Smart, savvy, and as reliable as they come, Mike was a fierce competitor, willing to reinvent himself to succeed. He always carried himself proudly and confidently while being accountable for his performance. He was, without question, a consummate Yankee. For the Yes Network, I'm John Sterling, and thanks for watching Yankeeography.